In a game where many predicted the firepower to be too much to handle, the old school Steelers showed up. Bothering Burrow with a barrage of pressures and coverages, Pittsburgh repeatedly unsettled the young star into multiple mistakes, helping hold the Bengals to just 20 points. The most impressive thing about this performance, though, the defense pulled this off while playing 100 snaps, allowing just 4.32 yards per play and repeatedly coming up clutch in the biggest of moments. So how did they pull this off? Let's get to the tape and find out. The Steelers came out with 3 key focuses: keep everything in front of them, slow down Burrow's reads by forcing him to process rolls, and get home with just 4. They employed a 2-high look for the overwhelming majority of the day. That's 2 safeties back deep before the snap, indicating to Burrow the long bomb is off the table. Joey B is going to have to attack the underneath zones if he wants to win, where the Steelers further complicated things by continuously rolling or shifting their defense post-snap. Of course, if you're just rushing 4 guys, you've got to have the confidence in your guys to get home. Give Burrow too much time and he'll carve you open like a Thanksgiving turkey no matter the role you serve it with. And this is where the Steelers got their first key victory. The criminally underrated Cameron Heyward set the tone for the day early, dropping Burrow on the very first play. The Steelers show a 2-high look pre-snap, but roll into cover 3 post-snap with Minka rotating to play the flat, and the early disguise has Burrow unsure of his first read. In the fraction of a time it takes to get to his second read, Cameron Heyward has already bench pressed away the guard and is bearing down on Burrow. A little half spin looks to buy him time, but the elite change of direction from 97 means Burrow is in the turf on snap number 1. And if you thought that play was over fast, check out this play from later in the game. Heyward one-arm forklift 67, dumping him straight back into the lap of Burrow before he has a chance to even process anything. He bounces off his own man, but before he can even get his eyes back to the secondary, TJ Watt is taking out his legs. Watch the fantastic push-pull counter here from TJ, going to the pull when Lyle Collins holds off the bull rush, and still having the balance to hold the angle despite being ripped down. Unfortunately, a bad hold in the secondary called this back. The Steelers only brought pressure on 9 of 66 dropbacks, but when they did, it was perfectly timed. Here, backed up on 2nd and long, the Steelers again present Burrow with a 2-high look, this time bringing 5 and playing man 1 high on the back end, with Minka rotating down to play the robber. Who else can it be again but Cameron Heyward, this time combining with Miles Jack on the stunt to get Burrow rattled. Jack does a great job to win the leverage battle, dipping his right shoulder below the guard and driving him back hard with the rip-through, then making sure to act as a picker on 64. Heyward's feet at his size are simply outstanding, and the change of direction after 3 steps looks like a running back with a crossover, darting back through the now vacated gap to pressure Burrow. There's that half spin again to get out of the pressure, but Alex Highsmith is there to mop it up, bringing down Burrow once again. Highsmith had a career day, notching 3 sacks including this strip fumble. Having Burrow rattled early with 2 quick turnovers, Tomlin and co. refused to let him settle, sending a 7-man pressure in one of the few blitz calls of the game. Cincinnati should be able to protect this with the man-on-man, allowing Joey to hit T. Higgins on the comeback. But Highsmith is too good for Jonah Williams, and he's into Burrow's back once again. Great reflexes by Heyward on the fumble too. He really is just so involved on every play on tape. And here it looks like a blitz, but it's just a creative 4-man pressure scheme. They show man pre-snap with 2 stand-up edges. However, on the snap, Malik Reed will drop to a hook curl, forming their base cover 2 for the day. Highsmith will run the loop to replace him, indicating to Jonah Williams that he doesn't need to get into a deep kick step. However, this allows Chris Wormley to engage him in the bull rush, opening up a clean rush from Arthur Mollett off the slot. It's perfectly executed by the team up front, and the ball is once again stripped from Burrow, this time knocking them out of range of a game-winning field goal. And if you want to take the bag home like the Steelers front 7, you've got to try this offer from our sponsor PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the easiest way for you to play daily fantasy sports. Pick between 2 to 5 plays and an over-under on their projection. and you can win up to 10 times on any entry. Sign up using our exclusive offer code THINKINGFOOTBALL, and you'll receive a 100% instant deposit match all the way up to $100. It's just you versus the projected numbers, and we know we've got a lot of smart fans out there who are great at pick'ems. So download their award-winning, easy-to-use mobile app today and get selecting. PrizePicks offers every sport you could possibly think of, not just the NFL, allowing you to combine your knowledge from across the sports world to conquer their over-unders. PrizePicks entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's really that easy. So make sure you sign up with our offer code THINKINGFOOTBALL to get your deposit matched up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy made easy. Backing up the pressure was the Steelers' clever use of roll and disguise defense, showing a particularly great feel for sequencing, helping force Burrow into mistakes. They aligned pre-snap mostly in a too-high look, trying to negate the deep shot that made the Bengals so deadly last year. As you might suspect from this base, their most common coverage on the day was Tampa 2, trying to force Burrow to check everything down and then rally for the tackle. However, they mixed in a lot of man robber and cover 3 to keep him guessing, finding creative ways from too high to slow down his processing. Tampa 2 doesn't just have to be an easy read for the quarterback. If you can make him think for just that extra half second, then you've got a chance. In too high pre-snap, Fitzpatrick will roll to play the middle from his deep half, with Cameron Sutton bailing fast from the slot to replace him. That half second to confirm the defense, rather than straight dumping it off at the top of his mark, is all Highsmith needs to get through once again. For 2 of the interceptions, we want to highlight the sequencing, because it's the play before that really sets up the confusion. Here, early in the 4th, it's 3rd and 6, and the Steelers are still hanging out in that too high look, this time with clear and obvious man coverage. And like they've done a lot of the game, Minka will roll down to become the robber. Burrow makes the correct read here, looking to his man Chase, but Hayward has pile drive the guard into his face, and this bounces short. On the next play, the Steelers show almost an identical look, too high, clear man coverage up on the line. However, Miles Jack is walked up to the line to spook some pressure. Sending a 5th would leave the back wide open while still losing the numbers game, so Burrow can assume Jack will drop if the slot corner does too. Looking at the corner off the snap, he sees him bail with his attention on the inside slot and assumes man coverage like last snap. However, the Steelers have switched back to the Tampa 2, and Witherspoon zooms in front and triple tips it to himself for the INT. A masterful job of setting up the QB. This also happened on TJ Watt's fantastic interception, although it's more of a solo effort here. It's the same loop blitz they ran for the game-winning pressure, and keep your eyes on TJ Watt. It's his responsibility to play the Malik Reed dropping end roll this snap, and although he doesn't get near the ball, he takes a note of the tight end and back release. Quickly, before we get to the next play, if you get pressured by something earlier in the game, you know they're coming back to it when it matters. Poor job by the Bengals staff and Burrow to be ready for this in OT. Anyway, 2 plays later, after a big run stuff, the Steelers are again going to bust out the Tampa 2, trying to get Burrow in checkdown mode on 2nd and long. And again, keep your eyes on TJ Watt. He's lined real wide on this one, with the tackle spending the game in an increased split his way. He's almost at a wide 9. He's got Hayden Hurst straight ahead again, and as soon as he avoids Watt on the release, instead of trying to chip, he knows exactly what he's doing. Trying to hook into that space underneath like the previous snap that we showed. Watt doesn't even bother engaging Lyle Collins, timing his jump as Burrow reaches the top of his dropback. Just superb play recognition and timing. The obvious counter to a team sitting in too high all day is to hand off the rock and pound it straight up the middle. But again, the Steelers had them beat here too. Cameron Hayward was too much for the Bengals all game long, and if you try to run his way, he'll just dump a lineman in the back's way and abort any plan. Watt can always be counted on for one big tackle for a loss, and here he again tells Lyle Collins he's just too slow, beating him to the reach block to lay the wood on Mixon. The Steelers held Mixon to just 82 yards on 27 attempts, But even this is flattering. Take away his 31-yard run in the second quarter, and he was below 2 yards a carry. Most of it, though, not his fault. From delivering the Steelers' first touchdown of the season to saving their bacon on the go-ahead extra point, Minkah Fitzpatrick owned every blade of grass on the field on Sunday. The chess piece in the secondary, Minkah was often the player tasked with the shift in zone, rolling down from too high to play Tampa or Robert, or all the way down to the flat, changing the zone entirely. His ability and instinct to jump balls are of the 99th percentile. This isn't a good ball by Burrow by any means. It's late, behind his man, and not really open. But Minkah makes sure there's absolutely no chance for Boyd, high pointing like a receiver before striding it back the other way. And he was great in run support too, here coming flying downhill to hold the outside gap and wrapping up Mixon with form and power. And this extra point stop is the reason the game even went to overtime. He perfectly times the snap count and takes advantage of a poor gap assignment by Drew Sample, allowing him to get a hand to the ball and divert its course and the game's. Now, despite the dominating defensive performance, this game still needed a full 70 minutes to produce a victor. How is that so if one defense dominated throughout? Well, let's just be honest, the Steelers' offense was awful. Managing only 2 real competent drives on the day, the offense continually forced their defense back on the field with a putrid ability to move the chain. They racked up 5 3-and-outs on 13 drives, and in 4 consecutive drives with the game on the line, they totaled just 15 plays. The Bengals gladly took the free time of possession, owning the ball for 17 minutes more than the Steelers despite the 5-0 turnover differential, eventually leading to some Burrow rhythm and allowing him to scrape back to even scores despite the great game plan from the defense. Jamar Chase continued his dominant start to his career with another 129 yards and the game tire, but it'll be the 3 that got away that he looks back on, dropping this slant over the middle that would have been 6. This outrageous catch in the end zone, where if he was wearing shoes 1 size smaller, he would have scored. I mean, come on, dude, the league isn't fair. We've got dudes doing stuff like this. And the one that might annoy him the most, the catch the Bengals never bothered to review, which was clearly in. The Bengals would come away with 0 points on this drive. The game then turned into complete shithousery when overtime came. Last year's rookie sensation kicker, Evan McPherson, shanked what would have been a gimme 29-yarder. And then with his first chance to win it, Boswell could only produce a doink. Luckily for him, the defense came up clutch with a stop, and the offense limped its way back for another shot. And with the final play of the game, the Steelers finally take it home. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, why not check out our draft profile on George Pickens, or our breakdown of the brand new Patriots offense. Take care.